G'day there, folks. Thank you for coming along to the Getting Up to Speed and FarmIQ quarterly webinar. It's unbelievable that another quarter's gone. The year's disappearing very, very quickly. It's hard to believe it's April, but it's been a very busy quarter for our team. It's been all go, particularly on the mobile side of things. So we're pretty fizzed to show you everything that we've come up with, and then say what's coming up in the pipeline as well. So thank you for joining. We'll just do some housekeeping before we get underway. You'll see some polls. If they haven't popped up now, they will do very shortly. So the very first question will be, do you feel more or less optimistic about farming now than what you did last year? We've seen a couple of similar polls come out. And yes, the results have been interesting, and just hearing farmer sentiment around all the field days happening at the moment that we're attending. It's generally speaking, from what I've heard, is that people are feeling better. Interest rates lower, commodity prices on the up, generally speaking, but farm work and expenses still a problem. But yeah, tell us your 2 cents. How are you feeling yourself? And then, of course, as well, the usual question we have: what new features and enhancements do you most want to see on the FarmIQ mobile app? So you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen, there's an option to go to those polls if you don't do them right at the start. And there's also a chat and a Q&A area as well. So why don't you go ahead in the chat, introduce yourselves, say where you're calling from, if you're farming or if you're a real professional, just say what you're doing to earn a crust. And yeah, we'll encourage you to ask questions in there throughout the webinar, because at the end of the webinar, we'll set aside some time to go through them. Alrighty, so we'll get stuck in. So first up, a bit of an introduction, and then we'll go through the new mobile features. We'll go through the web features. We'll talk about the turning off of the classic app or the old app, and then the Q&A, as I discussed. So firstly, who are we? Here's me. I'm Head of Sales and Marketing for FarmIQ and FarmX. Your classic Lincoln uni grad from a 5th generation sheep and beef farm down in Southland, and I've done a bit of all sorts in New Zealand farming. And next up, we've got Libby. Libby, why don't you introduce yourself to the folks?
Yeah, thanks, Russell. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Libby, and I'm one of FarmIQ's inbound sales and onboarding specialists. So I help people get up and running so that they can get into using all of the great aspects of FarmIQ. I come from a sheep and beef background, and I'm originally from Canterbury. However, I'm now living in the Wairarapa on a beautiful sheep and beef hill property here with my partner. I've been at FarmIQ just over 3 years now, initially in the support team, and then moved into this current role.
Cracker. Thank you, Libby. And next up, we've got Aaron. Aaron Stewart. Why don't you say good day, Aaron?
Yeah, hi. So I'm a product manager at FarmIQ. So I need to update the slide apparently. Been there for just over 10 years now. I work directly with our development team, so I sort of put together the roadmap and work with the developers, the designers, and the stakeholders, farmers, about what actually gets built and what goes into the product. So sort of just hear these at the moment to answer questions. So if you've got any, chuck them in the chat and I'll answer as we go, and we'll try and answer more at the end.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Aaron. Okay, so we will start off with our new mobile features, and there's a lot to go through. So if it feels like I'm pumping through them, it's because we've done a lot of work and we've only got 45 minutes to get through it all. So first up, sales. So on the new app, we've now got sales. So you can now do it from the mobile app. You don't need to use the classic app or the desktop. So you can do a whole mob, partial mob, or individual animals. You'll see on the app that there'll be red asterisks, so that's the parts that you have to put in. For example, the buyer, you need to put in the buyer for this. But there's a whole lot of other stuff there you can see under the how that is optional data to put in, like the live weights or the total weight and transporter and such. So very self-explanatory. I encourage you to get your phone out as we go through this webinar and have a wee look through as I talk through it. And if you're not seeing what I'm showing on the screen, that means you need to go to the App Store and re-upload or update the app, because there's a whole heap of features that you're missing out on. Just one thing to note is that what I've got up here, this is for if you're on the Performance Plus or Pro pack. It's slightly different if you're on the Essentials pack, because you'll be using described stock, but the essence is much the same. Okay, and now moving on to recording the losses and killed on farm. Libby, I'll let you take this slide, mate.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so again, on the mobile app, we can now record stock deaths and losses more accurately. So this is because we now have the ability on the app to specify what we are recording, if it's a death, if it's a animal loss, so like a stock tally adjustment, or if it was animals that were killed on farm for consumption. So it's pretty cool, because the losses and killed on farm features weren't available in our classic app. So this is brand new functionality for the FarmIQ mobile app.
Great, thank you, Libby.
And yeah, so for the death events, you can specify the cause of death, e.g. if it was like a bearing or a prolapse, either because you found it dead in the paddock or you actually had to put it out of its misery. So then you can record the paddock it happened in and the disposal information. And likewise, so with killed on farm, you need to add in the reason that it's been killed, such as for staff mutton or dog tucker. And then, yeah, the loss event is more so, like I said before, a stock adjustment. So if your stock count is out after a recent tally up, for example, you have a mob of 50 ewes in FarmIQ, but in the most recent count you actually got 49, then you can record a loss of one animal from the mob, and this can be a loss being either as a result of a stock check, or it's missing from the count and it could still be hiding out in the scrub somewhere, rather than it being a known death. So it is important to record each of these events so that your stock rec and your mob tallies are up to date. And you can also utilise the deaths and losses report from the web to get a better understanding of where and why stock are dying. So this is ultimately, it may help you decide to change the management of stock at certain times of the year to assist in decreasing your mortality rate. And as you see, you can see if animals are continuously dying in the same paddocks, and then you can figure out why, which is really handy. And then, yeah, to record these events against animals on the app, select the mob from the map, or if you're on the describe stock option, then you can click on the stock tab and click activity and follow your nose through the event while inputting any info that you need there. You can also include any notes, files, or images to any of these events as well.
Great, thank you, Libby. So obviously this is a vast improvement on the classic app, and it's just small stuff. Like you'll see there when you go to the reasons for the death of a sheep, at the top is unknown, and the classic app was all alphabetical. You had to scroll down to unknown, when we all know that the vast majority of the reasons why ewes die is unknown. So it's just small things like that that are going to save you time with your day-to-day recording. Now moving on, record send to graze. Now the beauty with FarmIQ is once you learned how to do one thing, you've actually learned how to do a whole heap. And recording send to graze is much the same as recording a sale. So you can now do this on the new app, keep track of where they are, what farm they're on. You can send animals to graze to another property, and then the grazier can return them to the owner's farm. And then they can also, on their end, record weighings, deaths, and losses if they're a FarmIQ user. So you keep all that history, even if they go off farm. So how you do it, you go to the mob, activities, send grazing animals, and set the activity type, and then you can put in any relevant information from there. Libby, I'll let you take over the EID recording.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a packed one. It's pretty cool though. So the EID file library has been added to the new mobile app. So from here you can record events such as sales, centre graze, deaths, and health treatments, and include those EAD tags and files. So this is currently only available for those who have the mobs feature on FarmIQ, so those on the Performance Plus and Pro packs. So if you've either got the Gallagher or Tapari integration set up, EAD files will automatically be transferred into the FarmIQ tag files library here, so you can record events against these EAD animals on the app as long as the tags are linked to a mob on FarmIQ. Otherwise, any EAD files that are manually added into FarmIQ from the web will also appear in the mobile app's tag file library as well. So for the tags received via the integrations, there is no need to actually manually record some of these events, as the system will automatically record events such as your weights, condition scores, and scannings. Again, as long as the tags have been linked to a mob on FarmIQ, then that'll happen. We are working with TrueTest or Datamars to incorporate an integration here too. Cool. And then to record events with your EADs that don't automatically get recorded. So on the app, you'll find the tag files in your stock list, as you can see there on the GIF. So select your tag file, then select and record the event. The system will use the EAD details and save the event to the EAD animals on the mob in FarmIQ. So that's how that works. And then individual animal history is only available on the Pro Pack, though. Just keep that in mind. And then something else here I just wanted to mention is if you have Nate set up and connected on FarmIQ, Nate will automatically be notified of a sale, centre graze, and death event if recorded with the tag file. And just furthering that Nate chat, we have updated the visibility of Nate statuses in the diary events. So you can click on the status on the web and see what the warning or issue is and resolve it way easier than before.
Awesome, great, thank you, Libby. This EID stuff's been a bit of work. With integrating at the cloud, that's just the way it's going these days. So no more Wi-Fi, no more Bluetooth, no more cords taking the weigh scale unit or the one back to the office at smoko time. So this is going to save a heap of time for those farmers utilising EIDs. And I'll cover the remaining animal events here. So like deaths and centre grazing, they follow the same sort of flow. Go to the stock list and add stock or birth or purchase as an example. But the main one here I want to talk about is drafting. Drafting's been one that's been asked about, been requested, I shall say, in the new app since we first released it. It's been a beefy piece of work, but we got there. So you can now draft your mobs from the map and the new app. So to do that, you just click on the mob and go to the activity and click draft. You can take them into multiple different mobs and multiple different paddocks. Now, I just thought I'd ask a question out there. So at the moment, as I was saying, we can only do it at the paddock level. So you select that mob icon in the paddock. While in the classic app, you could do it via the paddock or the entire mob. I'd love to hear your 2 cents worth. How would you like to record a draft at the mob level? Let's say you have a mob spread across multiple paddocks. How do you envision that working best for you as a farmer? Is that going to be on the map itself, or is that going to be through the stock list? I'm keen to hear your thoughts. But yes, we now have drafting, so I'm very pleased about that for myself as well. Okay, and moving on here, recording land events, Libby.
Yeah. So another feature on the mobile app is ability to record the specific FERT and chemical applications on one or multiple paddocks from the map screen. So if you aren't using the tabular integration and are manually entering in your FERT and chemical events into FarmIQ, it's now really easy to do it while you're out on the job. And you can also record the usage of products that are in your product inventory. So yeah, any FERT or chemical products you've got in there. You can also see some paddock history as well, so of the most recent applications and the last pasture cover recorded by clicking on the paddock and then swiping up to view those details. We also have the option to record the land note event as well for recording any other land activity against the paddock that doesn't have a specific event added on the app yet. So for this, just remember to be detailed in the description of that land note and add in a category, as you can then use the search tool on the web diary to search your keywords to find these events if necessary down the track.
Okay, thank you, Libby. And I'll take over for product inventory. Now, this is an exciting one because we didn't have any form of product inventory management in the Classic app. So you now go to the More button there and scroll on down to the product inventory, and you'll be able to see there that it has some sliding bars under the products that you have on hand that's in your inventory. And you can now write off and dispose of those as well as adding inventory. So let's say you buy some stuff in, or the farmer's truck comes and delivers and drops it off. You can add it on the phone straight away. There's no need to go to the office and do it from there. And which is quite important because you want to get the inventory sorted before you do any applications or health treatments, for example. The only note to add is that we haven't got feed in here in the inventory yet. That's because we're rethinking about how that's going to work in the future. We want to make that a lot more user-friendly than what it is in its current state. But yeah, the removing and the write-off of product is a big step forward for the new app compared to the Classic. Libby, editing tasks.
Yep. So if you need to edit a task that's due on FarmIQ for whatever reason, you can now do that on the mobile app, which is very handy, mainly because you can edit or update a task if you want to add in, I don't know, items such as a new checklist item, or assign other staff to the task, or add more specific notes that you didn't know about until now, or change the due date, pretty much making any edits to the task that you want to. So to do it, you can just click on the task and click edit and make your changes and then save it. It's also good to be aware that the custom task categories created on the web will sync into the mobile app, so you can use them here too. And you also have the ability to delete tasks that are no longer relevant, that are due, that haven't been completed, by, again, clicking on the task and deleting it. And if you haven't already set up your task notifications, you can do that on your app notification setting and on your phone setting. So you make sure to turn both on, and be sure to assign the task to the staff member so they receive those notifications.
Great. I think a well-used piece of functionality with the editing task, we're adding a photo after the fact. Sometimes, you might tick it off on the desktop, but then realize, oh, shit, I actually needed to put some physical evidence of this. So next time you're out in the paddock, just take a photo of that water trough you fixed. Thank you, Libby. So I'm going to take over here with recording visits. Now, this is something that we've always had the capacity to do with the Classic app, but yeah, just an update to the new app is that you can now record a visit just yourself with the phone without using Safe Visit. So let's say the bulky driver turns up, you can just whip out the phone, go into More, and then you can record a visit manually yourself. And you can also record multiple people as well. So let's say the shearing gang turns up. You don't want to do every single shear and every single rousey. So you can just say, I've got 4 shearers and I've got 3 rousies and a presser, and just log them all in at the same time. Just some other more refinements. We've made it that you don't have to put an arrival or expected leaving time. You don't have to schedule them if you don't want to. Just making it a bit more flexible, just less mandatory data entry. The other thing to mention about recording visits is that we always have, and we still do have, the Safe Visit app. Now, if you haven't heard of the Safe Visit app, that's a different app that contractors or people who commonly visit your farm can have. It's a free app for them, and it's a way for them to log in and log out of your farm and then they can have access to the map. They can have the induction process come on up and they sign the waiver, etc., etc. Now we've made some improvements to that app. We just made it more user friendly and more reliable. Got rid of some bugs. So if you've had some pain points with Safe Visit in the past, give it another crack. See if it's working for you now. And I'll continue here with the pasture wedge graph. Now this is so much more than just the pasture wedge, because this is the very first report that we've had available on mobile, and it's the first of many to come. But we thought we'll start with the pasture wedge because we want to lean into the pasture management side of things with FarmIQ, particularly in the Performance Plus and the Pro Packs. So if you go under more and then go under the report center, you'll see that pasture wedge in there. Now, the other thing to mention when it comes to pasture is you can see that photo of me with my chicken legs and my dog using a rising plate meter on my farm. That plate meter is a GenQuip EC20, but it's sold on behalf by TrueTest, hence the yellow colors on them. And we used to have an integration with them, but it broke when they changed some software up. And they're looking at redoing their app. So we are talking to them at the moment to get that integration up and live again, which would be fantastic because that uses GPS points, and that pasture walk will just come to your FarmIQ straight away. All right. Now we're on to the web. Oh, catch my breath after all that mobile work there. A heap's been covered in the last quarter, which is fantastic. But we'll go through some bits that we've been doing on the web side of things here. So we have added goats as a farm type. You'll be amazed how many farms out there have goats, and I'm not just talking wild goats. And we've also been working a bit with New Zealand cashmere. So you can now add New Zealand goats as a stock. You can add goats as a stock type. It's got that wee purple icon there. Some other work we've done on stock types is we've made it that you can filter which animals you see on the map and on your diary. So if you want to just see your deer stuff, you can now do that now. So yeah, just a couple of things for some farmers that we had some enhancement requests for. And now we're going to talk about the turning off of the classic app. Boy, oh boy, this has been coming for a long time, and we're very, very close. So we're very close to having 100% parity and everything that was in Classic Mobile in the new app. In fact, you could argue that we've gone beyond it. There's a couple of wee things that we've got to do. But you'll see that the FarmIQ Classic app, it's now been removed from the Apple and Google app stores. So this only affects the users who don't already have it installed. But it will affect any new staff you have coming on farm, and then they want the classic app. If this is an issue for us, give us a call and we'll sort something out for you. But very shortly, that classic app is going to be turned off for everybody because we'll have all the functionality in that new app. Now, the main thing we've been waiting on, and Libby touched on it earlier, is an integration with Tapari at the cloud level. So currently with Tapari, you have to use the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth functionality to connect.
TrueTest.
Yes, TrueTest, thank you. You have to use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to make that connection. So we've built our part of the connection to make that integration possible with TrueTest. We're just waiting on them to finish their part. So that's why we're holding off just for the time being. It's for our TrueTest users. So that's why that classic app is still there despite everything being in the new app. But we'll keep everyone informed on the exact date and when that classic app is going to be turned off. Alrighty, so what's coming up next? Mobile ride map. Libby, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, there's a few on here, which are very exciting. So we're working on the farm walk feature update, so making recording pasture covers when doing farm walks easier with less clicks, meaning that they're more efficient to record. So, if you don't have a farm walk set up, you can select the the first paddock from the map, and then it will bring up your nearby paddocks, so it's easier and quicker just to select them and get your farm walk pasture covers entered. Or you can select your preset farm walk, which is done on the web, and go through and enter the covers in order of the paddocks that they are set up. And you can actually skip paddocks too if necessary. So that GIF there is sort of running you through what that might look like. And then next, adding batches to inventory using photos. So this would include the introduction of AI to read the product details from the photo and add the info such as your batch number or expiry into FarmIQ. And it would work in a similar way to our AI features for the to-do list and the farm shopping list, where you take a photo of the physical list and then it converts it into a digital list on FarmIQ. Check that out if you haven't, because that's a pretty cool one. Next, proof of placement using the GPS tracking. So we've made a start on this with the measuring tool feature that has recently been released. This will see some improvements and will look a little bit different in the near future. However, it is the bones of what we want our goal for GPS tracking to look like. We expect the first release to look something like tracking where fert and chemical are spread on paddocks in a track my movements in a line style approach. And then we hope to add tracking points from the GPS, so more like spot spraying or adding in water troughs or other features from your GPS location that way. And also we've got the hazard and task locations on the map. So being able to provide a precise location for where something is. For example, when creating a task for fixing a fence, you can show your staff member exactly where it is with the location of the task. So this will save time and remove any doubt about the location that you are sending that staff member to. This one, it's a biggie for a lot of people I speak to, so it's going to be really great when this one's released. And then we've got the diary search feature on the app. So it'll behave the same way as the web diary search, so searching any keywords such as a death, and it'll bring up all your death records rather than having to scroll through and find them, essentially saving you time, really.
Awesome. Thank you, Libby. There's a couple of really exciting things in there for me.
Yeah.
The diary search, just searching by keyword. You don't even need to do any categories, don't need to muck around with any filters or anything like that. And doing it from the mobile as well. So come audit time, just type in health treatment or drench, and then all pops up on the phone. That's going to be fantastic stuff. Yeah. And the other one there is the GPS tracking stuff, because that opens up a whole can of worms of exciting opportunities for us. Some of you might have seen that GPS tracking tool on the map. There is, and you might have thought, oh, that seems a bit unnecessary. There's other low-hanging fruit, but there's reasons why we built it in there, and it is going to change in the near future as we improve at that GPS point. But imagine walking along where you've just put an overflow drains on the farm being uploaded as a layer to your map from there, and then you know exactly where it is. Imagine using it for any break feeding in the future. Using GPS has so much scope for us in the future. So that's why we built those things in the order that we have, including the to-do list, using basic AI to take a photo of a to-do list or a shopping list, because we want to use that technology for your health treatments as well for your inventory. So some exciting stuff coming up with mobile. Just because Classic's turning off doesn't mean we're done with the mobile, not by a long shot. That new app is just going to keep on being built onto. The same with the web. There's no secret that we've been focusing on the mobile because that's what our farmers have demanded, and rightfully so. But we're still working away on the web, the desktop version as well. The main one being an FAP Plus dashboard. So we've been working on this for quite some time, and we're just in the finishing stages of wording some of the titles for the requirements. So we've built the bones of it. We've been working really closely with FAP Plus partners and our shareholders, and as well as NZFAI, who oversee the FAP Plus program. And yeah, we've had really good collaboration with it. So this is going to be out very shortly, and it's going to make doing your FAP Plus a lot more simple, a lot more streamlined, and have all your data in the one place. And you can give third-party access to whoever you got assisting with your FAP Plus, be it a consultant or to the auditor, so they can check as much data as they can before they actually come on farm, making the whole process a lot more streamlined. And we're also working on the FarmIQ to FarmX dairy integration. So we've got this up and running for red meat, and we'll be releasing the dairy integration as well. So we've got that at the testing stage at the moment. I've already touched on the TrueTest data Mars integration. So that's going to look very similar to our current Pari and Gallagher integration at the cloud level. And the other big ticket item is we've been working with an integration with Fonterra. So Fonterra has actually been on a spree of integrating with people, not just FarmIQ. So you'll be able to do your farm dairy records recording in FarmIQ, and that data will be able to go over to Fonterra without clicking a button. You just go through the settings and go through your permissions or who you want to share data with. So for those Fonterra farmers, going through your Fonterra audit is going to be a lot easier. Fonterra told me that they request 800 data points from their farmers to cover off their compliance. Having that just go straight from FarmIQ to them is going to save you a heap of time. And the other part of the integration with Fonterra is going to be your milk feed data coming back to FarmIQ, just so that you have all that information in one place, both in terms of quantity and quality of milk. So we've got some exciting stuff coming up on the website of FarmIQ as well. Just another thing to mention is we're going to keep on improving our innate functionality and just making it more visible if some things go a little bit pear-shaped. We already have made some improvements, but yeah, we're just being cognizant of that, and we'll just keep on those improvements. Okay, so that's everything that we've done in the last quarter, and that's what we're planning to do for the next quarter. It's time to go to some questions. So, and also if you haven't done the poll, please do so. And we will go through those poll results at the end of the questions here. So let's go through some of the questions here. Do you have a plan for recording dog worming treatments, date, batch, etc.? Thank you, Rachel, for the question. Yes, we already do actually. So correct me if I'm wrong, Libby. This has to be done through the desktop. Is that correct? Or Aaron, you might have to correct me here as well.
Yeah. So you can add in your dogs as assets,
Right.
and then you can actually add in your dosing, whatever you're using, Johnson or Jontal products into the product inventory, and then you can record tasks against those dogs as assets, and then you can actually set it up as a reoccurring task, so you can get a reminder of when that's due.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Rachel, I believe that was released about 6 months ago or so, roughly. You can also add kennels as an asset as well, because some auditors get hot under the collar about that, and you can take photos of any wire that you've fixed in the dog kennels, etc.
You could access those tasks directly from, you can go and have a look in their dogs and do that. Aware that we probably could do a better report, so we'll be looking at that in the near future as well. Once you've set up those recurring tasks, as Louis mentioned, you can actually do them from your mobile. So it's just really that setup of saying when you're going to worm your dogs each month or whatever, however you're doing every 6 weeks. Once you've set that up, it becomes something you can just manage from your phone. You'll just see them pop up and a reminder will come through to you on your phone saying time to worm your dogs.
Cool. Thank you, Aaron. If you've got any more questions, just keep sending them through, folks. I've got a few more here. So Ross, can I see where I am on farm? I'm a new staff member. Yes, you can. So if you're on the FarmIQ app, and up the top right from memory, there's a wee, kind of looks like a bullseye. just push that there, and that will show exactly where you are on farm with a little blue dot. And there's another button there that's got a square, it's like a square. You can click that and that'll take you back to the view of the farm as a whole. If you've scrolled in specifically on a smaller area of the farm, or if you've gone, want to be nosy and look at an aerial view of your neighbours, if you push that button, it'll take you back to the main view of the farm. Got a question here from Anna. Can I backdate any health treatments? I presume you're talking about the new app. Yes, you can. So you can backdate up to a week on the app there. If you want to go further back, you have to do that on the desktop. We didn't want to add in that going backwards too much on the app, because it can cause a bit of problems as you have to do events in chronological order. How do I set up custom farm walks? That's from Josie. Josie's Josie or Josie. Apologise if I'm pronouncing that wrong. So you do that on the desktop. You can just click on the paddocks and then right-click and set up custom farm walk from there. But adding a custom farm walk on the app, I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that comes in the future as we're leaning into our pasture management in FarmIQ. Just seeing any other questions here.
Yeah, there's a few that Aaron has already answered, but we can just read through them, I suppose,
Yeah, sure.
as well. I'll just bring them up. Can you see them, Russell, or do you want me to read through them?
I see there. Yeah. You go for it, Libby. I've talked enough.
Cool, all good. So Simon asked, does the losses get counted in the death rate? And Aaron has said, lost shows separately in the FarmIQ stock rec, so does not get counted as a death there. In the deaths and losses analysis report, which is what I spoke about, you can choose if you include them or not in the report, so via the event type filter. So on FarmIQ, you can filter out a heap of different things depending on what you want to see. And then Fraser has asked, if you record a loss and then find it in another paddock, can you bring them back in? You currently have two options for this, so both only available on the web. One, you can delete the loss event if you wanted to. This would place the animal back in the previous mobile paddock, so essentially just taking it back to before you recorded that loss event. Or two, you can add a found event, so add stock and then found, which would, you'd be able to put that animal back in that mob or that paddock that way. And then could you please add septic tanks for houses, as I am recording servicing of these on FarmIQ under petrol tanks currently. Aaron said we'll get that added to the list, so that's a good enhancement there. What else? Paul H asked, what about horses? We don't have horses in FarmIQ yet. No,
we have talked about it though, haven't we, Libby? FarmIQ seems to attract women who love horses, so we do. Libby's one of them. But yeah, so it has been thought of adding horses, and it's been discussed. It's not on our roadmap at the moment, but yeah, we are aware of, especially for a lot of the stations.
It could be done like dogs very easily if that was acceptable. It would be an easy sort of thing to replicate the horses as assets and be able to treat them the same way.
Okay, sounds like something that we'll investigate.
Cool, and then I saw a couple of other ones there. Can you add planned fertilizer applications in the new app? Not yet for planned ones.
No.
Just on the web.
You'll see if you plan an activity, if you do a planned fertilizer activity on the desktop, that will flow through to your diary and will be at the top of the list in the mobile app diary, but you can't add a planned activity from the app yet.
And one other question that I can see here is, I work a lot with maps as an environmental person. Could you please change the T next to the size of a paddock to a HA, so hectare?
What's the context of that? Do you know, Libby?
Not sure. I think, when you're looking on the map.
I think there's an option to set that. You can choose it in the settings, I believe. You can choose what area you show.
We'll look at that and get back to you. Okay, is that all the questions there, is it? I believe so.
I think so, yeah. Looks like we've covered those ones off.
Okay.
There was just one other one about a recording of this webinar.
Yes. So we this is recorded, this webinar, and everyone will be emailed a recording, even if you didn't attend. Okay, now we'll go to the poll results, shall we? So the first one up was, do you feel less or about the same or more optimistic about farming today compared to 365 days ago? And it's great that no one clicks C. So that's 0% for the less confident in farming. And we've got about 25% said they feel about the same, and 75% said they feel more optimistic, which is great. Yeah, they're about the same ones there. Be interesting to know what the reason for about the same. Is it political stuff? Is it purely financial, environmental? Yeah, be keen to hear your thoughts. But it's awesome to see that the general trend is people feel better about farming today than what they did this time last year. And coming into the next question in the poll, which was a bit of free text. What feature and enhancements do you want to see in the FarmIQ mobile app? And I'll just go from the top that I see here. Add in facial eczema. Yeah, keen to know a bit more context behind that and recording facial eczema. Is that liver samples? But yeah, we're keen to investigate that. I'm in Southland, so it's not a problem. It's not top of my mind, but I know it definitely is in the north. Be able to put in more than one animal treatment at a time. Yep. Put a supplier in for chemical. Yep. And yeah, some data mass stuff in there, so that will be coming along. Pre-start vehicle checks. Yeah, I had someone talk to me about that at the South Island field days, actually. Okay. Ability to record a land event on more than one paddock on the mobile app. Can we do that at the moment, or is it just one paddock at a time, Libby?
No, it is definitely, you can select multiple paddocks now on all the land events.
Yep.
Pasture.
Got
another, sorry, Libby?
I was just going to say, so you just click all your paddocks that you want to record an event for, and then it'll bring up activities, and then it'll already have those paddocks that you've selected.
Yep.
In that activity.
Then we've also got here updated the chemical inventory and animal inventory. We're working pretty hard on the inventory. So yeah, we're going to see some improvements in that. So yeah, watch this space on the inventory side of things there, not just taking a photo of the batch number. And the last one is set stocking, which is what I put in myself. Yeah, so yeah, great. Thank you for that feedback there, guys. We really value the feedback from our farmers, and we try to put stuff out that is the most desired by our bill payers. So that's great feedback that we'll take back to the team. Okay, well, that's 12:44. Pretty good time.
We've just had word to answer Elsa's question regarding the T next to the size of the paddock, and because T stands for total hectare as opposed to E for effective hectares, and we've got those two options as well as your cultivatable hectares as well. So you can change your effective and cultivatable for your paddock sizes, and that's how that works.
Awesome. Okay, folks. Well, thank you very much for coming along. There was a lot to unpack there. It's been a very productive quarter for our team, and we look forward to seeing you all at the next quarterly webinar with even more enhancements and updates. So thank you very much for tuning in during your lunchtime, guys. Take care.
Thanks, team. Bye.